A new life, infancy, stage of human development lasting from birth to approximately 2 years of age. The hallmarks of infancy are physical growth, motor development, vocal development, cognitive and social development. The first year is characterized by rapid physical growth. A normal baby doubles its birth weight in 6 months and triples in a year. During that time, there is great expansion of the head and chest, thus permitting development of the brain, heart, and lungs, the organs most vital to survival. The bones, which are relatively soft at birth, begin to harden, and the fontanelles, the soft parts of the newborn skull, begin to calcify, the small one at the back of the head at about 3 months, the larger one in the front at varying ages up to 18 months. Growth and size depend on environmental conditions as well as genetic endowment. For example, severe nutritional deficiency during the mother's pregnancy and in infancy are likely to result in an irreversible impairment of growth and intellectual development. Well overfed, fat infants are predisposed to become obese later in life. Human milk provides the basic nutritional elements necessary for growth. However, in Western cultures, supplemental foods are generally added to the diet during the first year. The newborn infant sleeps almost constantly, awakening only for feedings, but the number and length of wakening periods gradually increases. By the age of 3 months, most infants have acquired a fairly regular schedule for sleeping, feeding, and bowel moments. By the end of the first year, sleeping and waking hours are divided about equally. Development of motor activity follows a fairly standard sequence. The infant learns to lift its head, to turn over on its back, and to develop the muscular coordination for refined, visually directed hand movements and for sitting, crawling, standing, and walking, generally in that order. Motor development proceeds more rapidly than actual physical growth by the beginning of the second year. Bowel and bladder control is sometimes possible after 18 months. However, many normal, healthy infants show delayed response in one or several developmental activities, or may apparently skip a stage altogether. Cephalocaudal principle. First, most children develop from head to toe or cephalocaudal. Initially, the head is disproportionately larger than the other parts of the infant's body. The cephalocaudal theory states that muscular control develops from the head downward. First the neck, then the upper body and the arms, then the lower trunk and the legs. Motor development from birth to 6 months of age includes initial head and neck control, then hand movements and eye-hand coordination, followed by preliminary upper body control. The subsequent 6 months of life include important stages in learning to control the trunk, arms, and legs for skills such as sitting, crawling, standing, and walking. Proximal distal principle. Second, children develop their motor skills from the center of their bodies outward, near far from the head, and last to the toes and hands. A number of factors influence early brain development. These important factors include genetics, food and nutrition, responsiveness of parents, daily experiences, physical activity, and love. In particular, parents should be aware of the importance of furnishing a healthy and nutritious diet, giving love and nurturing, providing interesting and varied everyday experiences, and giving children positive and sensitive feedback. The brain grows in sequential fashion from bottom to top, or from least complex part, the brainstem, to the more complex area, the cortex. Seeing familiar people is important for brain growth. Touch is important sense to infants. Eyes have not yet been developed well enough to see. Skin cells send afferent signals to the parietal lobe. Brain receives messages that causes afferent messages to calm the scared child. Cognitive development in children. Probably the most cited theory in the cognitive development in children is Jean Piaget's. As with all stage theories, Piaget's theory of cognitive development contains that children go through specific stages as their intellect and ability to see relationships matures. These stages are completed in a fixed order with all children, even those in other countries. The age range, however, can vary from child to child. Sensory motor stage. This stage occurs between the ages of birth and 2 years of age, as infants begin to understand the information entering their sense and their ability to interact with the world. During this stage, the child learns to manipulate objects although they fail to understand the permanency of these objects if they are not within their current sensory perception. In other words, once an object is removed from the child's view, he or she is unable to understand that the object still exists.